AB, I can't see your screen. It said it failed to start. Oh, never mind. never mind. I can't see it. Okay, could you go back one slide, please? Okay, can any of you see the screen before I start? All right, so before we discuss the tips and tricks, can anyone tell me a tip we all will need during the theory exam? You can type it down in the chat. Getting the keywords, yes, that's one of them. Yes. The screen is not being shared. AB has technical issues. Knowing advantages or disadvantages, yes, it's very important to study for theory.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay, is it visible now?
Wait. I can't see it. Wait, it's loading.
Can we see it?
It's still loading.
No,
Okay, let me retry.
I don't know. It was loading and then that stream failed to start, and then now it's loading again. Oh, now it's gone.
If you want, I can stream it, but that means that I can't talk because I'm going to use my PC then.
Okay, sure. I think you can stream.
Okay, I'm going to join through my PC then.
Yes, I can see now. All right. So, any more tips and tricks you guys want to mention that are essential for the exam? No, could you go back one slide, please? Yes, thank you. Oh, yes, time management is, yeah, time management is an essential thing in the exam. So, do master time management. Oh, and don't forget to practice as well. Okay, if not, let's go to the first tips and trick Brofro and I have for you guys. Next slide, please. Okay, so the first one is master command words. These command words can be found in the ICT syllabus. Later on Google, you can search 0417, which is our syllabus code, syllabus, and you'll be able to find these in the details of the assessment section. So the number of marks and the specific verb used in the question tells you exactly how much to write and what to write. So here we have analyze, compare, contrast, define, demonstrate, describe, discuss, evaluate, explain, give, identify, justify, state, and suggest. So, of course, there are those big markers where they ask you to evaluate or discuss. So, through these command words, you can also see what you need to explain or what your ideal answer should be. So, for example, let's say discuss, write about issues or topics in depth in a structured way. Or explain, set out purposes or reasons, make the relationships between things clear, say why and or how and support with relevant evidence. Identify is just mentioning. Justify, support a case with evidence or argument. State, express in clear terms and suggest apply knowledge and understanding to situations where there are a range of valid responses in order to make proposals or put forward considerations. So you can also see compare contrast, identify comment. For compare, it's on similarities and or differences. Contrast is to identify or comment on differences. For example, in the theory paper, you have compare and contrast, so you would also have to mention similarities and differences. Is that clear for everyone? Or do you guys have any questions before I proceed to the next tips and tricks? Okay, if there are no questions, AB, could you please help share the
All right.
screen? Okay, no problem.
Bro, can you stop so that I can share mine?
Okay.
Okay.
Can we get these notes after the session? Yes, of course you can. We will write this. We will put this and pin it in the ICT channel later. So do not worry.
Can we see the screen?
Wait, it's
Still
still
loading.
loading. How long's this session? It's approximately around 3 hours, but it's okay if you don't attend the full thing.
Is it visible now?
For
Still
me, the
not.
stream failed to start.
Oh,
Oh, now I can see it. Okay.
okay. Is this the slide?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Can
All
everyone
right.
see the screen before I start? Okay, amazing. So now we're going to go through the time management slide, which is one of the most important ones. And in time management, you need to learn how you can spend your time to gain as much marks as possible. So starting with, we're going to talk about not spending a lot of time on one question. So about this point, if you have a difficult question that you are not sure of and you don't know the answer of, you should skip it and go to the to another question that you know the answer of, so you can gain as much marks as you can. Because if you gain the marks you are sure of, you will get a higher mark than trying in a question that you don't understand. After that, try to answer the easiest questions first. This will help you with the moral boost. It will help you with like getting confident in the exam. Can you not hear? Can everyone hear me? Or is there
Yes.
like a problem with this guy? Okay, that's good. So try to answer the easiest questions at first because this will give you confidence. I understand that everyone is going to be like stressed out because of the exam. So if you answer the first easy questions first, then you will get like a moral boost about it. After that, you can return to the difficult questions, and then you can like use the time remaining to type as much as you can. Uh, Last point regarding the time management, you should split your time as in like every mark is worth 1 minute. So for every mark you have in each question, so for example, a question has like 6 marks, try to spend at least spend at least 3 minutes to 5 minutes. So you can like save as much time as possible, because if you spend a lot of time in each question, then you will waste a lot of time, and that will make you like not finish the exam, which will make you lose marks. Moving on to point number 3, you should get at least 15 minutes to check your questions.
Is this the slide?
Um, for me, it's still the same slide.
All right,
Is this the
next,
tip?
yeah, yes. Um, the next tip and trick is to use precise terminology. So, of course, let's say um, they ask you a question regarding a specific process. If you use general or generic language, it is one of actually the top fastest and easiest way to lose marks. Avoid words like thingy, memory without specifying RAM or ROM or fast. So, for example, let's say you want to say screen, you can say LED monitor. Also, instead of unchangeable, you can say non volatile. Instead of Excel, you can say spreadsheet. Or instead of saying access, you can say database. And so on and so forth. Do any of you have any alternatives to these words, for example? All right, so for example, let's say describe the role of the CPU processing input and output. So, for example, you would talk about calculation in the case where a CPU is processing its instructions. Usually, most people would say, oh, the CPU calculates. But yes, the CPU does calculate, but you need to be more specific, such as you need to mention about ALU, which is an arithmetic logic unit, which is a part of the CPU that is responsible for calculation, such as addition or subtraction. Or for example, the CPU gets input data from the input format. Or most people would say in simple terms, the CPU gets the data, but you would need to be more specific. The CPU retrieves an instruction from the main memory, which is the RAM, and the PC holds the address of the next instruction, so on and so forth. You need to be specific because if you're too general, then you may lose marks because course processes like in the CPU are very specific. So, are there any questions before I move on to the next one? Can Zizi read our answers from chat, please? Yes, don't worry. I'll be reading your guys' answers. How much time should we
Should I
have to
move on?
check? Uh, wait, let me answer the questions first, please. Someone is asking here how much time we need to check. Personally, for me, it really depends on the person. For me, I like to leave 15 minutes or 30 minutes, but I finish early in my mocks for paper one. So, it really depends on the person. But in the case that I do not finish it 30 minutes earlier, uh, I let's say maybe 15 or 10 minutes to check so you can add your answers. How do we know which sets of questions require specific terminologies? Um, AB, could you go back to slides, please? So back to this slide, it really depends on the command word, and it also depends on what they're asking. For example, there was a past paper question about asking why a system should be evaluated. You need to be specific. Or there's also a past paper question, I think if I'm not wrong, about input and output formats. Yes. So in those type of questions where they talk about processes and such, you need to be specific. And also just follow our syllabus and the textbook so you know what to discuss about. Also practicing past papers, they are quite repetitive when it comes to the paper. So topics that have appeared previously may come in next week's paper. So, as long as you know the command words, you have good knowledge on specific processes, for example, in the case of a CPU, then you'll be good to go. Has there been questions that are out of the syllabus? Thankfully, not. How do we be specific with the practical questions? For those, can we just describe literally how you do it? Let's say Excel. You can be like specific, like maybe they ask you how to print. You can say, oh, you have to go to file and then press print, so on and so forth. You can just say it, but try to be a bit specific. Like you can say, oh, click a button where it says that, for example. And you can't just say that. You need to like elaborate a bit. Like for example, click the button that says that, so it will lead the user to blah blah blah. Yes, there are questions where they may ask you to draw a report, but personally, I believe it's not questions that are necessarily very hard. It's just basic drawing questions that we apply in practical, like data entry forms, labels, so on and so forth.
And one thing I'd like to state is that for the drawing questions, the examiners aren't strict with the marking. So as long as it's making sense to them, you'll get the marks.
Are we allowed to use 2B pencils? Um, According to the official rules from Cambridge, as I've seen in my IGCSE, please do use a HB pencil for drawing or diagrams. I think a 2B pencil is also okay, but just to be safe, I've always seen Cambridge mentioning about HB. For drawing, it is recommended to use pencils instead of pens from Cambridge. Such as, in math, IGCSE, they always ask you to draw in pencil for graphs, or in sciences as well. But you are only allowed to use pencil for the theory paper in cases of drawing. Other than that, please do answer everything using a ballpoint pen in black ink. Okay, so let's move on to the next tip if there are no more questions.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about one of the most important concerns that everyone has, which is how to answer a question. So while answering questions, remember that you got 1 mark for each correct point. So it's a good idea to include more points than the number of marks available if you have time, especially for the describe and the explain questions. Begin with the points you are most confident about to secure marks first, and then add extra details to develop your answer further. So, for example, if you have a question that's asking you to describe how GPS works, try to start with by explaining how it works in the ways and the steps you understand and fully know. So you can gain as much marks as possible at the start and not waste a lot of time. Because if you skip the question and come back later, then you might have forgotten a few points, which would cost you a lot of marks. Be careful to not contradict yourself, as this can cause you to lose marks even if the first part is correct. So, for example, if you wrote that GPS works using satellites, and then at another point you added that satellites are not needed for GPS, then you are going to lose the mark you would have gained if you said that GPS needs satellites only. That's because the examiners would think that you don't understand the question and you don't know what to write, so you are trying to write everything to gain any marks. Moreover, you can use bullet points to organize your ideas. A lot of people have been asking that if you should write in paragraphs or bullet points, but for IGCSE, you could write in points. In A levels, you need to write in paragraphs, but you don't need to worry about that now. But lastly, make sure that every point you are writing is clear and explained well and is not short phrased. You shouldn't say that something uh, is cheaper than the other. You need to explain why it is cheaper. You can't just state the word because examiners and the mark scheme require you to explain why you are saying that question, that answer. Do you have any question about this slide?
Okay, I think uh, about the last bullet point. So if we're comparing, let's say, RAM with ROM, we don't just state that RAM is volatile, okay? We add on to it. So what does it mean if it's volatile? It means that data is lost as soon as power is lost, okay? So that is how you should develop. Don't just state the points.
Yep, you need to elaborate on your points, as I said, but start with stating the bullet point and under that try to explain it. It's better if you write in paragraph form, yes, but if you don't write in paragraph form, you won't lose a mark for using bullet points. But make sure that your answers are fully developed and fully explained. Quality over quantity is always correct because you can write fully developed points, three of them, than writing five not developed points, and you will gain the full mark on the question because it depends on the mark scheme. Most of the mark schemes require you to write 1 mark or 2 marks on developing your answer. The class is recorded, yes. In the mark scheme, they try to cover as much points as they can because not every student thinks the same way. So, for example, you might write something and I might write something completely different, but it's both correct. So, they try to have as much points as possible so everyone would gain the marks. Any more questions? 8 marker questions are like removed from the syllabus lately. Like there are no more like 8 mark questions. But always in the mark scheme, there's at least 2 or 3 points more than the marks that you will gain per question. Because as I explained before, not everyone is thinking the same way. If it's a 1 marker, then refer to the keywords that the question has included. Like Zizi said in the first slide, there are keywords that explain how you should answer every single question. To get an A in theory, you need at least a 35 out of 80. At least a 35. But to be sure and to be confident about getting an A, try to aim for a 40. The best way to gain an A star is to max the practicals and get at least a 40 in the theory. That way you can fully lock down the A star. If you get a 45 in the theory, then you are doing really well. The examiners are lenient depending on the question and how the mark scheme is telling them to. So, for example, if a question has a keyword underlined, then you need to state that point, that keyword, I mean, to get the mark, or else you won't. But most of the time, they are lenient because not everyone is explaining the same way as the other person. Anything else before we move on? Does everyone understand the points?
Can we move?
Yeah, we should move. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the common topics that come in the exam, the high yield questions. So, first of all, the most common topics in ICT Paper 1 include the following list, as you can see on the screen, which are data integrity, especially validations like range, format, check digit, as well as health and safety risks, as in the eye strains, the physical hazards like trailing cables. And they are really easy questions to gain a lot of marks in. So try to focus on these. You should also focus on the expert systems, including their components, such as the knowledge base and the inference engine, and understand the difference between RAM and ROM in an internal memory. These questions come always in every single year. The RAM and ROM are very popular and very frequent to come. So try to lock them down and gain as much marks as possible in these questions. Moreover, system implementation methods such as the direct changeover, the parallel running, and the networking concepts. These you need to understand and know the advantages and disadvantages of each because they ask them a lot, especially when they say compare the advantages and disadvantages for a company that wanna follow parallel running than the direct changeover. In addition, system analysis methods like interviews, questionnaires, or even the security topics such as biometrics and two-factor authentications, or even the web developing development layers, and the cloud storage benefits and drawbacks are always very important to focus on because they come very regularly in the exams. Is there any questions regarding this slide? I tried to explain it in a very simplified way.
Any
You
questions?
can see the number. You can see the number of appearances and the years they appeared in the right columns. So if you are looking for these questions, you can just open a past paper and check it out. Practical topics are not as frequent because you did a practical exam, so they usually focus on the other topics. You should revise everything because we are not sure what might come in the exam, but these are the topics that always come or like very frequent.
Should we continue?
Okay, and
Bro, can I? Okay.
this is the most important one, but it's to always rely on the syllabus. So you may be wondering, why rely on the syllabus? Isn't that going to take so long to look at? Well, see the syllabus as a guide on how to study. So, the syllabus may define the exact vocabulary you must use to secure marks. Also, it prevents you from entering the general knowledge traps. Common sense or general knowledge can sometimes lead to incorrect answers in an exam context. For example, let's say between Blu-ray and hard disk drives. So some may say Blu-rays are high capacity because they hold HD movies, but the syllabus actually requires you to know that they actually may have much less capacity compared to internal hard disk drives. So these very small details are very important to know during your theory exam later. Furthermore, the syllabus allows you to understand the mark scheme and watch the mark count. For example, if a question has 4 marks, the syllabus aligned to mark scheme expects 4 distinct technical points. In this case, you can find it in examiner responses as well. For the marks, you can see exactly as I said before, when it's preventing general knowledge, those marks or those points are important to get your marks. Also, it directs your focus onto a certain perspective. So the syllabus tells you exactly what parts of the chapter you need to master, what is important to remember, which saves you time. For example, instead of learning almost everything about the internet and learning details that won't even appear in the exam, you can focus on specific steps the syllabus requires for. For example, maybe web browsers such as domain name system lookups, IP addresses, the rendering engine of a HTML, or a file transfer protocol, so on and so forth. Are there any questions before I move on?
Any questions?
If there are no questions, okay. If there are no questions, please move. Oh, okay, never mind. So this is a final point before we give the spotlight to AB. So we ICT helpers are trying to post tips and tricks regularly and as much as possible right before the theory paper in 4 days. So please feel free to DM us anytime for questions or ping us in the ICT channel. As of the moment, there are only 3 ICT helpers, which is me, AB, and Brofro. You can also DM us for any questions or if you want us to grade your practice. There's a question here. Is it possible to kind of guess the advantage disadvantage questions? Um, for me, at least in my opinion, ICT is common sense for me, but I don't recommend guessing, but if you try, that's good.
Any questions before we move on?
Yes, please feel free to ask questions before AB discusses about February March 2026. Okay, if not, Brofra and I will be giving the spotlight to AB. So, AB, please take the stage.
Alright, let me share my screen first. Is my screen visible to everyone?
For me, it's still loading.
Is my screen visible?
For me, it told me I'm disconnected, so I'm not sure. It's still loading.
Can we start?
Yes, I can see it now.
All right. So you guys can, as I solve along, you guys can state your answers in the chat, and Zizi or Bofo, one of you can read the answers to me. That would be nice. Okay. So this is the Feb March 2026 paper. Let's look at the instructions first. Okay. So supposed to answer all questions, use a dark blue pen, write your name and center number. Okay. So you're supposed to answer each question in the space provided. Okay. The first question states, complete the following sentences. The physical components of a computer are known as, right, hardware. Okay. Now, the programs for controlling the operation of a computer are known as, okay, so I'm seeing some people saying system software, some are just saying software. The correct answer here is just software. They didn't state specifically if so. If they wanted application, they would have mentioned to provide services the user requires. If they wanted system, they would have stated to allow the computer to provide the services the computer needs in order to run. Here they just said to control the operation of the computer in general. So we'll just write software. Okay. We don't have any question here. Okay. Do we? Okay. A student is making a recording of his voice for a podcast. Explain how the student's voice could be recorded on a computer, and it's for 3 marks. So we are required to mention 3 points. Okay. So what are you guys thinking of? Use the microphone and plug it into a computer. Open up a voice recording software. Okay. So we are on the right track. Okay. So here we can say that so first the student should speak in the mic. Okay, in order for him to record, he must speak in the mic. So student speaks in the mic. Okay, so the student first has to speak in the microphone, right? And then the microphone will convert the sound waves into electrical signal which the computer can store. Okay, okay. So how is it converted from the sound wave to the electrical signal? Any ideas? Right, ADC. Okay. So we use an analog to digital converter. Okay. And once so this is basically all you have to say for 3 marks. Okay. This is 1 mark stating that the student has to speak in the microphone. And the second mark is stating that you are using ADC we are converting the sound waves into electrical signals. And the third mark is that we're using an ADC to convert. Okay. And now you can just wrap it up by saying so that okay. Using okay, it's fine. There's no point in adding more. Is there any question anyone has here? No questions? Okay. Moving on. When his voice has been recorded, the student wishes to listen to it. Explain the computer processes that enable the student to listen to the recording of his voice. And it's 3 marks again, so we need 3 points. Any answers? Okay, digital data converted to analog using a DAC output using an output device. Okay, that's right. Find the file directory. Okay, yes. So we're supposed to state that the data is retrieved from the storage device first. Then it uses a digital to analog converter to convert the electrical signal back into a sound wave. Okay, and then they are output through the speaker or any output device. Okay, so first we retrieve the data and then using okay, so notice how we're not stating just the points, we are explaining them as Borfo said in the beginning. We are not just writing the bullets point and leaving them hanging. We are supposed to elaborate more on them in order to get the full 3 marks. Okay. Okay, do we all get this? Is there any question? No questions? Okay, let's move on. ROM is a type of internal memory in a computer. State one other type of internal memory. Any answers for this? This is something none of us can afford to lose. Okay. So, yes, most of you got it. RAM. Okay. State two characteristics of ROM. Yes, all of you are right. It was random access memory. Okay. Uh, Permanent storage. Okay. Read only. Okay, that's correct. It's non-volatile and read only. Okay. So here we can say it's read only. And then we can also state that it's used to store the startup instructions, right? So if we had to state three, we would write that it. Okay, we all get this one. No questions. Any question? Okay. A computer system can use a command line interface or a dialog based user interface. Compare a command line interface with a dialog based interface. Command line interface uses commands to access information from various sources. Dialog based interface uses commands to access information from various sources.
Please wait. I think AB disconnected. He has technical issues. and he's trying to rejoin. He's actually here, but he just needs the permission. While we're waiting, do you guys have any questions?
So sorry about that. Okay. So as I was saying, additionally, it is easier to learn how to use compared to dialogue. It is easier to learn how to use dialogue based, sorry, because again, you'll have to remember all the commands you're supposed to use to do a specific functions. Because if you make a mistake, the command won't run. Okay. So a new user would have to memorize all the lines of code and things in order to perform instructions. Okay. Meanwhile, with dialogue based, you just state them. Okay. And then we can go on by saying, okay. So do we understand this point? CLI uses little RAM because there's no this thing there's no visuals, there's no other instructions that the screen has to display. All we have to do is we have a blank window where we type all our instructions and then we just have to run them. Okay, so it uses very little internal memory compared to dialogue based. Okay, it has to first listen to your instruction, then convert it into something it can understand, then perform the required task. Okay. And then the last point we can add is that with command line interface, the user is in direct communication with the computer. Okay. So we can say that lastly, CLI allows direct communication. Okay, so this is all we can say for our 6 marks over here. Okay, and notice how I joined all the points together. I didn't just state them in bullets. Okay, I have joined all of them together using these additionally, moreover, lastly. Okay, is there any question for this? No questions? Okay, let's move on then. Okay. A student is studying the quality of water in a river. The student can analyze the data using a tab computer or a smartphone. Explain why a tablet computer is better than smartphone for collecting and analyzing the data from the river. Okay, so what are your answers for this? It's a 4 mark question. And once we're done solving this paper, it will be sent in the ICT channel. Okay, so you guys can use this to revise for your exam. Okay, tablets have wider screen. That's correct. So we can state that. Will the PDF be sent? Yes, it will be sent. It will be sent in the ICT channel. Okay, now one thing is that we should use the context of the question. Okay, so here they are going to analyze the data. Okay, they are going to collect and analyze data. So they'll probably be making some graphs or or all those kinds of things. So they'll have to probably view the graphs. And since the tab has a bigger screen, we can say that it makes viewing graphs or data tables easier. Okay. Now, what else can we say here? Less data entry errors. Yes, that is with the screen size. We can state that for another point. Okay. Okay. So we can add that tablets have a better battery life. Not exactly. You can say that it depends, but then so some one other thing we can add is that tablets allow better multitasking. Okay. So for example, right now I can open any app over here and then I'll have a split screen, okay? So I can work on both apps at the same time. Meanwhile, in the phone, due to the smaller screen size, you can only do one thing at one time, okay? So that is another advantage here. Okay, wait, tablets have more RAM, would that work? Yeah, you can say that since they allow multitasking, it's usually better compared to smartphones, okay? And then we can say that, as one of you guys mentioned, it's easier to type on a tab. Okay. So now this tablet right now that I'm using, it has a very big keyboard. So there'll be very few errors I'll make while I'm writing. Okay. Okay. Any questions here so far? Or can we move? So you guys are doing really well. Most of your answers are on point. Okay. The student can collect the data using sensors or collect the data manually and then type it into the tablet computer. Discuss the benefits and drawbacks of using sensors to collect data. Okay, so what are your answers for this? It's a 6 mark question, by the way. If there's something you don't understand, you can always ask. You can ask Zizi or Bofro in the chat or me. Less data entry error. Yes, that's the first point we'll write. So we'll say that more accurate. Yes, 24/7 usage is also correct. Sensors provide more accurate. Okay, this is one point. And then the 24/7 usage. So we say that sensors have continuous. Okay. It would require high RAM, needs converters, less data entry because accurate results data can be taken at all times. Okay. Okay, so one more point we can add is for the advantages. However, okay, yes, extreme weather is also correct. Additionally, um, but in this context, notice that they are just going to collect the data um, for the quality of the water in a river. Okay, so we don't really care about the extreme weather here. Could a disadvantage be changing from analog to digital and back again? Not really. That is an internal process. It doesn't take much time. Okay, so additionally, we can write about their speed. Okay, so they are faster. Data is so data is recorded in real time. Okay, so this is one more point you can state. And then you can also add that if they want to collect data from places where it's not safe for humans to go, sensors can go there. Okay, so that's also one advantage. So most of the answers you guys said here were correct. Okay. Now moving on to the disadvantages. What disadvantages do we have here? Expensive to set up. Yes, okay, that's correct. What else can we have here? Okay, so We can state that the sensors can. Okay. Lastly, can you guys give another technical failure? Okay, that's part of the malfunction. Okay, so since we are going to be using them with water, I think we can say that yes, dirty sensors requires constant power is also correct. Lastly, the sensor can get damaged. We know that it's an electrical device. Okay, so as soon as it is in contact with water, it can malfunction. Okay, so the results get affected by the weather. Yes, that's also correct. Okay, so see, notice how I've answered this question. There's no stating of points, no bullets. I have linked all the points together. Okay, so it's like a small paragraph I've written. This is how you're supposed to answer these questions in order to secure all the marks. You can definitely add more here. Okay, don't limit yourself to the marks. Add if the point is relevant and you think it makes sense, add it. Okay. Moving on to the next question. The data collected from the census can be stored on the cloud. State why data is stored on the cloud rather than being stored on a solid state drive. What are your answers for these? Yes, easily backed up. Yes, you can also access them from anywhere. Data is automatically backed up. The data, okay, so here let's not try just stating. We can link it to the context of the question. So the data can be accessed anywhere by any student, okay? Can be okay. What's the last point we can say? Data is saved into the account. Yes, it can be accessed by multiple devices. That's also correct. Multiple account. Okay, yes. It also improves. Won't it won't get stolen or lost? What do you mean by that? Okay. So 3 mark questions. This is the answer we are saying. And we are not going to write any disadvantages because they said why is the data stored on the cloud rather than being stored on the portable solid state drive. So we're only stating advantages in this case. Okay. All of your answers are from mark scheme. No, the mark schemes haven't been released. We looked at all the mark schemes from 2021 to 2025 and we based our mark scheme on that. Okay. Moving on. A computer contains both antivirus software and anti-malware. Explain the differences between antivirus and anti-malware. Someone can easily steal data in the cloud. Yeah, your passwords, your credentials can get hacked. Okay, but then here we're only stating advantages. Okay, can you guys help me with this question? What are your answers for this? Okay, so I'll start, I guess. So for this, you're supposed to know your content very well because the mark schemes for such versions are quite vague. Okay, so we'll start by saying antivirus uses. Okay, while yes, anti-malware uses heuristic-based detection. That's right. Okay. Now, what else can you guys think of? What is signature-based? Okay, this is basically the method they are using to detect the viruses in the computer. Okay, you can read more about that. We are not supposed to know into detail. We're just supposed to know which method it's using. Okay. Anti-malware uses heuristic-based detection. So it basically looks for patterns. Okay, so if a file has been replicating, say, then it means that it could be a malware. Okay. Any other points you guys have? Anti-malware uses heuristic checking. Sorry for the handwriting. Again, here you have to know the content very well because the mark scheme answers are very vague here. Anti-malware is often better at catching. Could one of them be that it quarantines the infected folder? Both of them do that. Okay, so the last point, we won't waste time on this question, it's nothing special. Lastly, antivirus. Do we all get this? Let's move on. Explain why both antivirus software and anti-malware software are needed in the computer. What are your thoughts for this? Okay, so this means that so if you only have an antivirus downloaded, that if there's a specific virus in your computer, the database of that antivirus software might not have the name of or the symptoms of that virus inside it. Okay, but then if you have both antivirus and anti-malware, they one of them might have the specific kind of virus in its database, so you can easily find that specific one. Okay, if you guys understand what I'm trying to say. And then we can also state that modern. Okay, so in this case, we will need to have both of them in order to catch the virus and the malware. Okay, prolonged use of a computer can result in many health issues. One of them is RSI. State two possible causes of RSI. This is one question none of us should get wrong. So, what are your answers for this? We expect everyone to get this correct. Are you guys going to be sending? Yes, the PDF will be sent in the ICT group. Too much screen time? No, screen time doesn't count. RSI is an injury caused on our wrists. Okay, repetitive use of a keyboard and excessive use of a mouse is correct. Okay, using typing. Okay, so we'll say typing. The PDF will be sent, and then the recording for this will be uploaded on my channel as well. Okay. Okay. Now, what are the fixes for these problems? Yes, bad typing posture is bad. Take break intervals. Yes, that's correct. Yep, that's also correct. Use urban movement. Yes, all of what you guys are saying is correct. Say two possible causes of back problems when using a computer. Yes, bad posture is bad. Not taking enough breaks. If you are not sitting well, okay, and then you are not okay. If you're not sitting well and not taking enough breaks, I mean, using a chair that flex. Okay, so we can also say that using a chair Okay. So if you're sitting on a wooden chair for all day, something that's flat like this, you'll definitely get back pain. Okay. But then if you sit on something that's more like this, that you can adjust, then you would not face back pains. Okay. Do we all understand? Okay. State two possible strategies for the prevention of back problems. This is straightforward. Use ergonomic chair, yes. Place the screen. Okay. So we don't want you sitting like this, that the screen is here and you are sitting here. Okay, so that way you have to look up constantly. But when the screen is right in front of you, you won't have to move your head up or down in order to see the screen. So you will have less back problems with that. Okay. Describe the benefits and drawbacks of using a using a VoIP system. Yes, but it still counts. Yeah. Okay, so what are we thinking for this question? Companies phasing out landline telephones and replacing them with a VoIP system. What are the benefits and drawbacks? VoIP is basically calling over the internet, okay? What are you guys thinking for this question? State anything you have, okay? Okay, I'll start, I guess. So we know that the landline costs are more than VoIP. If you call through WhatsApp, you have less charges compared to if you call using landline. And then we say that VoIP, cost efficient. Yeah, that's the first point. Stable internet requires good bandwidth, cheap, can be okay. So the person who said stable internet requires good bandwidth, cheap, those are just stating, okay, you'll have to elaborate more. Okay. So one more thing we can say is, yes, compare Discord calls with normal calls. So right now, if we were all on normal SIM card calls, there was no way we would be sharing our screens, and there was no way all of us would be in this one call. Okay. Could you explain benefits and get full? Nope. You need at least two benefits and the rest drawbacks. Yes, Zoom and Gmeet is part. It's over the internet. Okay. So moreover, can it be three? Yes, three benefits and three drawbacks is perfect. Okay, so if we're using VoIP, we can put our number in our phone and then use WhatsApp on any device and call anyone anywhere. Okay. Meanwhile, with the landline, you'll have to be in the office. Okay. Now moving on to disadvantages. Um, Need higher bandwidth? Oh yeah. Yes, you can't state screen share and stuff, but then that depends on the context. Over here, we don't need to share any screens for any purpose. Are we fine with this question? Can I type it? Okay, I don't think I can type it here. I'll just make my handwriting better, I guess. Sorry for that. I really need further explanation. What don't you understand? How does it require a higher bandwidth? Okay, so when we're using calls from WhatsApp, we need a good internet connection, right? But even right now, the call you're connected on, you need a very good internet connection with high speed in order to be connected. But with landline, you are just connected through a wire. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yes, because it's voice over internet protocol. Yes, we are now going to question 9. Okay. State two types of extended reality. We will state virtual reality and augmented reality. Okay. Yes, you are correct. Virtual reality and augmented reality. This is something we should know by heart. Can we say that POIV can be used worldwide? What is POIV? Hi, Samsung Notes user mind if I recommend. Sure. I don't really use the handwriting much, so it's not too good. Sorry for that. Move on. Okay, can you help me just click the pen? Okay. Okay, let's move on. The principal of the university is considering setting up a group on social media to communicate with students. Social media has both benefits and drawbacks. Describe the benefits of using social media to the university. Okay, so can you guys quickly state your answers? Can we speed up the process because I don't have enough time right now? Okay, so I'll start. The Yes, fast is correct. To those of us saying that the handwriting wasn't visible, is it better now? Cyberbullying, easy connections, yes. To be frank, the pen only has one mode. Yes, share file is also correct. Students already, yes, that's also correct. And then we can also say that the university can promote. Yes, that's also correct. Yes, all of what you guys are saying is very correct, very much correct. Resources can be easily. Students can use the groups to help each other. Yes, that's also correct. Okay, so this is what I am saying. What you guys said is also very much correct. You can write that here for the 6 marks as well. Okay. The university is considering employing a communications manager to monitor the messages placed on social media. Explain why this is necessary. Yes, cyberbullying is also correct. Okay, this is one point that we all should be able to understand. Okay, do we all get this? And then, yes, all of what you guys are saying is correct. Sorry. Okay, moving on. 4 marks. This is a very simple and easy question. We should all be able to get this. Describe the characteristics of a wide area network. I'm going to write all of them down so you can copy them if you want. This is something we should memorize, okay? By the way, will there be another class? I have no idea for that. Use third party telecommunication. There might not be another class, but then if you have any question or doubt, you can ping one of the helpers. Okay, so this is what I can think of right now for the 4 marks. Okay, you can, what you guys said is also correct. I cannot understand the last point. Okay, so what I mean by that is that they use third-party telecommunication links like the satellites or the undersea cables or the microwave towers to connect the devices. Okay, how many more questions are there? I think it's just left with 2 pages. State two other types of computer network: local area network, personal area network. Okay, this is something I was spending more than 30 seconds on. Okay, now Tawara Book sells books as either online version or physical version. Each book has a 5-digit book number. Okay, let's highlight the key information. Each book has a 5-digit book number. Each customer has an 8-digit customer number. Uses a database system which contains, okay. Each record contains, so one row has all of these fields. Design an appropriate online data entry form. Okay, so this is a question that rarely comes up, okay, drawing and things. So how we would do this is we're supposed to just draw here. Okay, so what I'll do is, all right, no, I think we're drawing the form, so there's no use of white space or buttons here. No, we can't draw drop downs here. Unless your drawing skills are good enough. Mine aren't. Yeah, this question barely comes up. Yes, title is one. So this one can be a MCQ, okay, type of book, online or physical. You choose one. And then, yes, first time this question, but then it's easy 6 marks, okay? You just have to draw one form. Okay? And if you do this, you get all your 6 marks. Yes, and we need a title for it as well. So thank you for reminding. My bad. And someone send the question paper. Yes, I'll send it as soon as I'm done with it. State two validation checks that could be carried out on the book field. Format check. No, length check. No, not length check. We are because of C over here, we have used DDMMYY, so there's no way the user can enter more than the required number of uh, numbers here. Okay, so You can have format check and range check. By the way, there were slides to be sent. Yes, the slides will be sent. Can you send the solved paper? Yes, I'll send the solved paper. Format check, range check. The paper will be sent in the ICT channel. I'll pin it to the top. Okay. Presence check, that is allowed. No, it's a required field, so you don't really have to worry about presence check. But you can still say it. We don't know the actual mark scheme for this paper, so it might be accepted. State to reset methods used in this analysis. Okay. What are we thinking for this? Yes. Question is, yes, observations is also correct. Good job. Explain what is meant by computer aided learning. Yes, existing documents, all of what you guys are saying is very much correct. Allows the learner to learn specific subjects. Yes. But here we are just explaining what it means. So what I have said here is 1 mark. Now to add on, we can say to deliver interactive and educational contents. Yes, that's correct. I'll write exactly what you said then. To deliver interactive. Personalized learning. Yes, that's also correct. That's all correct, in fact. Yes, you guys are very much prepared. You got all the questions almost. We just need to work on how we are going to write the questions down. Where did Zizi go? She left. She has to prepare for her exams. Benefits. Okay, we can stay that it allows personalized. Okay, and this will give you your last mark. Okay, so this was the end of the paper. We have finished it. Do we have questions? How much mark is average mark I should get for A star? What did you get in your practicals? $60 in both papers. Okay, then you should be aiming for 40 plus in theory. How many marks was the form? The form was 6 marks. Yes, the form was 6 marks. I don't know, no marks, but I really did well. I even solved a hard question. Okay, that's great. That's great. So this whole session will be uploaded on my channel later on. So if you guys want to check out the explanation later on, you can find it there. Where real quick, I guess. Uh, okay, hopefully we don't get banned because of self-advertise, but this is the channel for the ones who asked. Okay. Do we have any other questions? We love expert systems. Yes, we love expert systems. I think we'll wait 5 minutes for any questions, and if they are not, then we'll end this session here. No problem. Can you go over voice over internet protocol? You mean the question? Okay. Which question was it? Can you explain the test strategy? What do you mean? Which question was that? Okay, which question was the voice over internet protocol? Okay. So what don't you understand about this? Voice over internet protocol is basically like using WhatsApp to call, okay? Or Discord or anything where we are using internet to call, okay? Is this Feb March? Yes, this is Feb March. So how it works is that we connect our device to the internet and then we are able to call anyone from anywhere, okay? So here we are describing the advantage, the benefits and the drawbacks of using voice over internet compared to the landline we were using previously, okay? So now if we're going to be using WhatsApp to calls, okay, it's going to be very much cheaper compared to landlines, okay? Now, if we are using the local SIMs and the stuff to call, it would be very expensive. It depends on how many minutes you use, okay? So, and then, okay, the person who asked this question, are you understanding what I'm saying so far? Okay. And then the voice over internet also supports video conferences, okay? So with WhatsApp, I'm using WhatsApp as an example for voice over internet protocol, okay? So with WhatsApp, I can also use video calls, I can send voice messages, okay? We can add many people in the call. But then when you're using landline, you only have one person and there's no video calls, okay? Then um, we can use it on any device. So right now I can use WhatsApp on my tab. I can use it on my laptop, on my phone at the same time. Okay. Do you get or should I do you get it or I should continue explaining? Did you explore? Yes, I've uploaded the expert systems. It's a yes, you understand? Okay, that's great. You guys should also check out the practice paper I've made over here. Okay. Thank you so much. No problem. The video will be uploaded on the channel. Yes, I do have a channel. Thank you. Thank you. Any last questions? Any questions? No problem. I appreciate it. Thank you. What's the hardest chapter for ICT? ICT applications. By far the hardest. Yes, I'm going to post the file. Okay, no problem. Are you going to post the file? Yes. As soon as I'm done with this, I'll send it. Uh, how do I study for the sixth chapter, the ICT application? Yes, that is one topic I also used to find very difficult. Okay, how I studied for it was I used summary notes. Okay, the summary notes. Okay, you can. I'll send them in my server. They are already in my server, but I'll forward them here. Any questions? Go for. Should we end? Your server's name. Uh, I don't think I can advertise my server in here. I might get warned. But then I am not going to do self-advertising. Okay. So I think we are going to end on this note. Thank you for joining. Okay. Good luck for your exams. No problem. Okay. Good luck for exams. If there's any question, ping us, any of the ICT helpers. Thank you for joining and bye.